Good morning, everyone. Today we are starting our discussion related to Apache Maven. What is this Apache Maven? Why we need to go for Apache Maven? So Maven is a build tool, guys. So Maven is a build tool, and this Maven tool developed by a company called Apache. Apache company developed this Maven tool. This Maven is a build tool, and this Maven is free and open source tool. You don't need to purchase anything here. It is completely free of cost. Maven is free and open source software, and this Maven software is developed by using Java language. Maven software developed using Java language, and Maven is used for Java projects build process. Okay, so when we are creating a Java project, when you are working with a Java project, then you need to compile the Java project. You need to execute test cases of the Java project. You need to package the Java project as a jar file or war file. In order to perform that build process for the Java projects, we are going to use Apache Maven. Maven is a build tool, and Maven is free and open source software. This Maven software is developed by using Java language, and Maven is used only for Java projects build process. Okay, it is used to automate build process of Java projects. Maven is used to automate Java projects build process. Java projects build process. First of all, what is the meaning of automating this build process? What is the meaning of automating the build process? What is this build process? Now, whenever we develop a Java, when we are developing a Java application, we need to download required libraries. We need to download required libraries. For example, Spring we need to download for our project. Okay, JUnit we need to download for the project. Kafka we need to download. Redis we need to download. So any frameworks that we want to use to develop our application, those frameworks are called as libraries. So when we are developing one Java project, it does not mean that we are going to use only Java to develop the project. So if I want to create one project by using Java, assume that this is my Java project. So to create this Java project, we need to use several libraries. Like Spring we are going to use, Spring Boot we are going to use, JUnit we are going to use, Kafka we are going to use. Okay, so like this there are several libraries available. Using those libraries, we are going to develop our project. Okay, now these libraries nothing but jar files will be available. We need to download these jar files. We need to use the jar files in the project, then only we can develop the project. But here, instead of we are downloading these jar files, we can take the help of the Maven to download these jar files. So Maven is a build tool. This is free and open source software, and this Maven is developed by using Java language. And Maven is used only for Java projects build process. It cannot be used with Python, .NET. No, it is only for Java. So when we, by using this Maven, we can automate build process. What is the meaning of build process? Build process means downloading required libraries. So for our project, some frameworks are required. Some framework jar files are required. If I want to develop one Spring Boot application, we need to download the jar files of the Spring Boot. Instead of we are downloading the jar files, Maven can download the jar files for us. This is one step in the build process. And the second step, we are going to write the Java code. .java files will be available. The project means set of Java classes will be available. These Java classes we need to convert into bytecode. So that means we need to compile this Java project to source code into bytecode compilation. If you write one program, two programs, compilation is easy. But in the project, hundreds and thousands of classes will be available. So for this Java project, compilation is required. Compilation is required. Bytecode will be generated. Once the project is compiled, then we need to execute unit test cases. So for our project, JUnits will be available. Then we need to execute tester. Bytecode will be created, .class files will be created. Then we need to test the application. Unit testing we need to do. Once unit testing is completed, then we need to convert that project into one executable format. That means we need to create a jar file or WAR file. If it is a standalone application, we will package our project as a jar file. If it is a web application, we will package our project as a WAR file. So this is the process we need to do. This is the process we need to follow in order to execute our project. So Java developers are going to create the source code in the project. That Java files we are going to write. So in order to develop the source code in the project, we need some libraries like Spring, Spring Boot, JUnit, Kafka, Redis. Like that, there are so many libraries available in the market. So in order to develop our application, we are going to use those libraries. So here we need to download those libraries and we need to add the libraries to the project build path. Then we will develop the source code of the project. Once the source code is developed, we need to compile the source code, then bytecode will be generated. Once the .class files are created, we need to test the program. That means we need to execute JUnits of our application. Once the testing is completed, then we need to package our application as a jar file or WAR file. Once it is done, then finally our project will be deployed. So here, when you want to run the application, two things will be available. One is a build, another one is a deployment. Build and deployment is required for the project. Okay, this complete process comes under build process. Downloading the jar files, compiling the project, testing the project, packaging the project. All these things comes under build process. So the first step, download libraries. Download libraries, compile source code, compile the source code of the project, execute unit test cases, execute JUnits, package application as jar or WAR. So these steps are called as build process steps. Once these steps are completed, then we are going to deploy the application in the server. So instead of we are performing these steps manually, downloading the libraries, compiling the source code, executing the test cases, packaging the application as a jar file or WAR file. Instead of we are doing these steps manually, we can use Maven to automate these steps. These steps are called as build process. For every Java project, this build process is required. Every Java project will use some libraries for the development. It can be Spring or it can be Spring Boot, it can be Hibernate, it can be JUnit, Kafka, Redis, Security, JSON, Jaxb, XML. So many dependencies we are going to use for the project development. So instead of we are downloading all those dependencies, we can use a Maven tool. Maven will download those dependencies required for the project. And Maven can compile our project source code very quickly. Even if you have 10,000 classes also, Maven can compile your source code very quickly. And in every project in the real time, unit testing will be implemented by using JUnit. Maven is going to execute our JUnit test cases. And Maven will package our project as a jar file or WAR file. So these steps, earlier people used to perform these steps manually. Now, in order to automate this build process, we are using one tool that is called Maven. So what is Maven? Maven is a build tool. Maven is free and open source software, and Maven is developed by using Java language. Maven is used for Java projects build process, only for Java projects, not for other projects. And Maven is used to automate Java projects build process. That means it will download required libraries and it will compile source code of the project, execute unit test cases of the project, Okay, once the unit test cases are executed, then it is going to package our application as jar or WAR file. If it is a standalone project, if any project which is executing from the main method will be packaged as a jar file. If the project is executing without main method, then it will be packaged as a WAR file. So standalone projects, any project which is executing from the main method, that project will be packaged as a jar file. Any project which will execute without main method, that will be packaged as a WAR file. In the Spring Boot, everything will be packaged as a jar file only. In the Spring Boot, every project will execute from main method only. That's why Spring Boot projects will be packaged as jar. In general, people will say that standalone applications will be packaged as jar file, and web applications will be packaged as war file. Okay, now when it comes to the Spring Boot, whether it is a standalone or web application, Spring Boot projects will execute from the main method. So that's why Spring Boot projects will be packaged as jar files. Are you guys able to understand? These steps are called as build process. So instead of a programmer doing these steps manually, we can automate these steps by using Maven. So Maven is used to automate the project build process. And the main aim, why this Maven came into picture, the main aim of Maven is to simplify, Java projects build process. The main aim of the Maven is to simplify Java projects build process. If you know Maven build process for one Java project, and that is common for every Java project. If you know how to use the Maven for one project, then easily you can use the Maven for any type of project. It will follow the same process for all the projects. Let us go to official website of Maven. You can see that Maven. So Apache company developed this Maven software. So you can see what is Maven. Maven meaning is accumulator of knowledge. So initially this Maven was not available. Later they identified that so many projects are using so many libraries. The jar files we need to download for several projects. Instead of downloading and maintaining the jar files for several projects manually, they want to identify one solution to simplify the Java projects build process. That's where Maven tool came into picture. And what is the main aim of this Maven? Making the build process easy. So they want to simplify Java projects build process and providing uniform build system. So if you know how to use Maven for one project, the same thing will work for other projects also. Providing quality project information, encouraging better development practices. So when you go for Maven, so where to keep the source code, where to keep the where to keep the configuration files, where to keep the test code, where to keep the dependencies, they will give you very clear picture. So you need to write the source code at one place, you need to keep the bytecode at one place, you need to keep the test code at one place, you need to configure the dependencies at one place. All these things will be maintained very properly when you go for the Maven. So Maven software developed by Apache organization, and it is a free software. It is used to automate the build process for Java projects. The main aim of the Maven to simplify build process easy for the Java developers. Okay, so making build process easy, providing uniform build system. Uniform build system means the same build process for all the Java projects. If you know how to use Maven for one project, then you can use Maven for any Java project. Providing quality project information. Okay, unit test reports it is going to generate, dependencies what we are using, it will be maintained properly. Quality information will be provided by the Maven. Encouraging better development practices. Encouraging better development practices nothing but keep the source code test code separately, keep the configuration file separately, keep the dependencies separately. All these things we can maintain properly when you go for this Maven tool. Okay, fine. Now in order to work with the Maven, you need to download that Maven software. Maven will be available as a zip file, guys. Maven latest version 3.9.8. So go to Maven website, click on download. Here Maven zip file can be downloaded. Okay, you can extract that zip file and you can keep into your folder. So I have already taken Maven. Okay, so I kept this Maven in my C drive program files. C drive, go to the C drive. In the C drive program files, here I kept Apache Maven 3.9.8. For this Maven, we need to set the home and we need to set the path. So in the video, I have given how to do the Maven setup. Okay, so Maven setup video I have given how to do the Maven setup in the Windows machine, right? So this is the reference video. So first we need to do the Java installation. Already you know how to install Java. Step 1, install Java, set up Java home and set up Java path. Java home we will set up to JDK folder, and the path we will set up to bin folder. So when you are doing the setup, guys, so when you are going for this Windows, you type edit system environment variables. There are two types of variables available: edit environment variables for your account, edit system environment variables. If you use edit environment variables for your account, then you can't edit the system variables. So here, when I open environment variables for my account, system variables are disabled for me. Only you can change the user variables. So if you want to edit the system variables, whenever you are searching, you type edit system variables, not account variables. I'm going with system variables. So when you go for the system variables, then go to environment variables. I can see that Java home is available and Maven home is available. So Java home is available, Maven home is available. When I go to the path, so Java path is available and the Maven path also is available. So what is the difference between system variables and user variables? System variables means it is applicable for all the users available in the system. In one operating system, multiple user accounts can be created. In one operating system, multiple user accounts can be created. If you set the variables at the system level, it will be applicable for all the user accounts available in this operating system. If you set up as a user variable, it is applicable for the user who currently logged in into this machine. Okay, so if you want to set it for only for your account, then you can go for user variables. If you want to set it for all the users, then you can go for system variables. Are you guys able to understand my point? Guys, are you able to understand the difference between what is user variable and what is a system variable? Understand the difference between user variable and system variable. System variables for all the users, user variables for particular user who currently logged in into this machine. Maven setup. Step 1, install Java, set up Java home, set up Java path. Then download the Maven software as a zip file and you need to extract it. So Maven software you can download from its official website. So it will be downloaded as a zip file. You can extract that zip file, copy that into C drive, guys. It is optional but recommended. Okay, I'm copying that Maven software into my C drive. That is optional. Once it is done, then you go and set up the path for Maven and Maven home. Maven home we are setting up to the Maven directory, and Maven path we are setting up to bin directory. Java home we will set up to JDK. Java path we will set up to bin directory. Maven home we will set up to Maven directory. Maven path we will set up to bin directory. So if you see, Maven bin is available. So this is the Maven path. See program files, Apache Maven, bin directory. Home we will set up to Maven directory. If I go to my environment variables, edit the system environment variables, go to this one, Java home up to JDK, Maven home up to Maven, then go to the path. In the path, if you see Java path up to bin directory, Maven path up to bin directory, it is available. So with this, we are good. Then verify Maven setup. Is Maven working properly or not? So go to your command prompt and you check Maven version. Verify Maven installation in the CMD by using mvn-v. So if you are able to get the Maven version, that means you are good. Okay, install Java 17 version, guys. I'm using Java 17. If anybody having below Java 17 version, please remove that version from your system. So install JDK 17. Okay. So if you have below 17 version, you please uninstall that Java version and install Java 17. All right. So I hope you got the clarity. What is Maven and how to do the Maven setup? Maven is a build tool. So it is developed by Java language. It is used to automate Java projects build process. So what we can do by using Maven? By using Maven, we can download required libraries, the jar files required for the project development. Using Maven, we can compile source code of the project. Using Maven, we can execute unit test cases of the project. Using Maven, we can package our application as a jar file or war file. So when to package a jar file, when to package as war file, standalone applications will be packaged as a jar file, web applications will be packaged as war file. So standalone application means any project which can be executed from the main method will be packaged as a jar file. Spring Boot applications, whether it is a standalone or web application, Spring Boot projects will be executed from main method. So that's why we can package the Spring Boot projects as jar file. So I hope you are clear what is Maven, why we are going to use Maven as a Java developer. So we need Maven to download the libraries, compile the source code, package, test the source code, test the bytecode, and package the project as a jar file or war file. Once the jar file or war file is created, that means build process is completed, then we can deploy that application. We can deploy that application in the servers. Are you clear? What is build process? Earlier, people used to perform this build process manually. Now we are going to automate this build process by using a tool called Maven. If you are clear with this point, could you please respond in the chat box? If you are clear with this point, could you please respond in the chat box? So what is Maven and what is build process? How to do the Maven setup? Are you clear? Yeah. Next one. Let us talk about Maven terminology. When we are using Maven, we need to know about some terminology. Okay. So what is that Maven terminology? Let's understand. When we are working with Maven, we are going to use a terminology like archetype in the Maven. First one, we are going to use one term called archetype. Second one, we will use a terminology called group ID. Third one, we will use a terminology called artifact ID. And we will use a terminology called version. Okay. And we will use a terminology called packaging. And we will use a terminology called dependencies. And we will use a terminology called repositories. And we'll use a terminology called goals. Right? Archetype will be available, group ID will be available, artifact ID will be available, version will be available, packaging will be available, dependencies will be available, repositories will be available, and goals will be available. Archetype, group ID, artifact ID, version, packaging, dependencies, repositories, and goals. So these are the terminology. This is the terminology that we are going to use when we are working with the Maven. Okay. So what is the meaning of archetype? Archetype nothing but type of project. What type of project that you want to create? So do you want to create one quick start project or do you want to create one web application? Okay. Coming to Maven terminology, there is a term called archetype. What is the meaning of archetype? Archetype will represent what type of Maven project you want to create. Do you want to create one quick start project or do you want to create one web project? Quick start project is nothing but standalone project, okay, which will be executing from the main method. If you want to develop a standalone application, then you need to choose archetype as a quick start. If you want to develop a web application, then you need to choose archetype as web. Then group ID. Group ID will be represented as organization name, company name. Okay, which company developing the project, organization name, or we can say company name. Company name. Which company developing this project? Which company developing this project? That company name we are going to configure as a group ID. Archetype is nothing but type of the project, whether it can be a quick start project or it can be a web project. Group ID nothing but the company name, which company developing this project. Next one. So here, when we go for artifact ID, generally we will configure like this: in.ashok ID, com.oracle, com.tcs, com.infosys, something like that. They can configure as a group ID. Archetype means what type of project we are creating. So do you want to create a quick start project or do you want to create a web project? Group ID means which company developing this project. Okay. Artifact ID. Artifact ID nothing but project name. What is the name of your project? So the project name will be considered as artifact ID. And next one, project version. So what is the version of the project? There are two types of versions available. One is a snapshot, another one is release. Okay, so you see iPhone project is there, iPhone 13, iPhone 14, iPhone 15, like these versions are available. Similarly, for our project also versions will be available: 1.0, 2.1, version 1.0, version 2.0, like that multiple versions can be available for our project. And here the versions will be represented in two formats, guys. Versions will be represented as two formats. Okay, now what are those versions? One is snapshot version, another one is release version. Snapshot version nothing but project is under development. Release means project development is completed. So when the project development is ongoing, then the project version will be represented as snapshot. If the project development is already completed, then we will go for release. Okay, so Maven terminology: archetype, which represents type of the project; group ID, that is company domain name we are going to as a group ID. Group ID will tell you which company developed this project. Artifact ID, that will be representing the name of the project. Version, snapshot and release. So when to go for snapshot version, when to go for release version. Snapshot means the project is under development. If the project version is a snapshot, that means it is under development. If the project development is completed, then the version will be updated to release. Next one, packaging type. How you want to package your application, as a jar file or war file. So as we discussed, Maven is going to compile the project, Maven will do the testing, and Maven will package. How you want to package? So if it is a standalone, I want to package as a jar. If it is a web application, I want to package as a war. So what type of a packaging you want for your project, you can specify as packaging. Next one, dependencies. Dependencies is nothing but libraries required for the project. These are jars. So to develop my application, I need Spring Boot jar files. I need Hibernate jar files. I need JUnit jar files. So what are the jars we are downloading to develop our application? Those jars are called as dependencies. We can call them as libraries. We can call them as libraries. And next one, from where Maven will download these libraries? Libraries are available in the repositories. Repositories nothing but location where jars are available, where jars are stored. So Maven, I will tell to Maven, hey Maven, download Spring Boot libraries. Then Maven will download the Spring Boot libraries from the internet. So the location where the jar files are stored, that is called repository. So in the Maven, we have three types of repositories, guys. One is called central repository, another one is called remote repository, and the third one is local repository. So dependency is nothing but the libraries which are required for the project, nothing but the jars which are required for the project. Maven will download the jar files. From where Maven will download the jar files? From the repository. What is the meaning of repository? Repository nothing but a location where the jar files are available. Maven will work with three types of repositories. What are those three types of repositories? One is central, second one is remote, third one is local. So there are three types of repositories available. From there, Maven will download the dependencies. What are those three types of repositories, guys? Central repository available, remote repository available, local repository available. Central means Apache will maintain. Remote means our company will maintain. Local means in our laptop, in our system, a repository will be available. Next one, goals. Maven goals are very important to perform build process. Maven goals are used to perform the build process. That means I want to clean goal is available, compile goal is available, test goal is available, and package goal is available. Okay, and install goal is available. So these are the goals of the Maven. What is the purpose of these Maven goals? These Maven goals are used to perform project build process. That means I want to compile the project. So to compile the project, I will tell to Maven, hey Maven, compile. Then Maven will compile the source code to the bytecode. I want to execute the test cases. I will tell to Maven, hey Maven, test my project. Then test cases will be executed. I will tell to Maven to package my project by using package goal. By using package goal. Then Maven is going to package my project as a jar file or war file. So to give the instruction to the Maven, to perform the build process by using Maven, we are going to use Maven goals. To perform build process by using Maven, we are going to use Maven goals. So what are the Maven goals available? Clean available, compile is available, test available, package available, install is available. Like this, there are multiple goals available. So to perform the project build process, we are going to use Maven goals. So what is the repository? Repository means the location where the jar files are available. Central repository, remote repository, local repository. How to work with these repositories, we will discuss. First, we are understanding the terminology. What is archetype? What is group ID? What is artifact ID? What is version? What is packaging? What are the dependencies? What is the meaning of repository? What are the Maven goals? Can you please read the terminology? If you understand this terminology, then only we can work with Maven. Without having the knowledge on this terminology, you cannot work with Maven. Archetype. Archetype will represent type of the project. So it is, do you want to create a quick start project or do you want to create a web project? Quick start nothing but standalone. Other one is web application. Group ID. Group ID represents name of the company. Which company developing this project? That company domain name we are going to configure as group ID. Okay. Artifact ID, project name we are going to configure. Version, snapshot or release we are going to configure. Packaging, jar file or war file we are going to create. Dependencies, nothing but libraries we are going to configure. Repositories, the location where the jar files are stored. Where the jar files are stored. So we can use three types of repositories: central repository, remote repository, and local repository. Goals are used to perform the project build process. Clean, compile, test, package, install. Like this, we are going to use the goals. Are you clear with the terminology? Are you clear with the terminology? And another one is Maven pom.xml will be available. Pom nothing but project object model. So when you create a Maven project, then one file will be created that is called POM file. POM stands for project object model. This is Maven configuration file. Maven project config file. For every Maven project, this pom.xml is very important. So in the pom.xml only, we are going to configure the dependencies. And when we execute the goal also, pom.xml is used. Without pom.xml, we can't work with Maven. So when we create a Maven project, one XML file will be created. That XML file is called as POM file. POM stands for Project Object Model. All the Maven related configuration will be available in the POM file only. All the Maven related configuration will be available in the POM file only. Are you able to follow this? Are you guys able to follow this? Right? Maven is a build tool. It is used to automate Java projects build process. By using Maven, we can download the required libraries. We can download source code of the project. We can execute test cases of the project. We can package our project as a jar or war. These steps earlier people used to do manually. Now we are automating these steps by using Maven. Okay, right. Maven setup we have seen. Terminology good. Archetype represents type of the project. Either you want to go with quick start or web. Group ID, so that is representing the name of the company, which company developing this project. Artifact ID will represent the name of the project. Version, snapshot or release. What is the difference between snapshot and release, guys?
Snapshot is in process, release is complete.
Yeah, snapshot is nothing but under development. Release means the project development got completed. Snapshot means a process. Release means the project development got completed. Packaging, jar or war. So if it is a project which is executing from the main method, then if the project is under development, snapshot. If the project is completed, then we will go as release. Okay. And the next one here, packaging, jar or war. If the project is executing from the main method, we will package as a jar file. If the project is not executing with main method, then we'll package as a war. Remember all the Spring Boot projects. So if you create a Spring Boot project, whether it is a standalone or whether it is a web application, they will run from the main method. That's why Spring Boot projects will be packaged as jar files. Now, for every Maven project, dependencies are required. That means libraries are required. Instead of we are downloading the libraries, Maven is going to download the libraries. Maven is going to download the jars. Next one, repositories. Repository is nothing but the location where the jar files are stored. So there are three types of repositories available. Central repository, remote repository, and local repository will be available. The next one, goals. Goals are used to perform the build process. There are several goals available in the Maven, like clean, compile, test, package, install. Like that, there are several goals available. Next one, POM. POM stands for Project Object Model. So that is our Maven project configuration file. Maven project configuration file. Okay. Next one, working with Maven project. Working with Maven project. We can create Maven project from the CMD as well as from the IDE also. Okay. So we can create Maven project. We can create Maven project in two ways, guys. What are those two ways? One is by using CMD, command prompt. One is by using command prompt. Second one is IDE. Okay, you can use Eclipse to create Maven project, STS to create the Maven project, IntelliJ also to create the Maven project. So how to create a Maven project? So Maven project can be created in two ways. One is from the command prompt you can create the Maven project, and the second one is from the IDE you can create the Maven project. Okay, so can we do one project from the command prompt, then we will go with the IDE? Guys, can we create one project from the command prompt? Come on. Can we create one Maven project in the command prompt? Yes. So you can create Maven projects from the command prompt as well as you can create the Maven projects from the IDE also. Now, Maven project creation in the CLI, command line interface. So in order to create the Maven project in the CLI, you need to use one command. That command you can find in the official website of the Maven project creation. Okay, go to Apache Maven. So how to create the Maven project? You can get the information here. Maven plugins, documentation. What is Maven? Maven features available. Maven use. Download Maven, the 5 minutes. Learn to Maven in 5 minutes. Getting started tutorial. What is Maven? How the Maven project? Yeah. So this is the creating your first project. So this is the command which is used to create our Maven project. First project in order to create the simplest Maven project. So archetype :generate. So we are telling to generate the Maven project. Project structure will be created. This is the group ID I want for the project. This is the artifact ID I want for the project. Archetype is a quick start archetype. Quick start nothing but standalone project will be created, and Maven archetype version 1.4 something like that we can use it. So this is the command. If you go to official website of the Maven, there you can see how to use the Maven, how to run the Maven, contribute to the Maven, how to get started. So in the official website, go to the use, go about Maven use. Now getting started tutorial is available. In the getting started tutorial, so what is Maven, how Maven can benefit the development process, how to do the Maven setup, how do I make my first Maven project. So this is the command which is used to create our first Maven project. Okay, take this command. So this is the command. Execute below command in the command line. Open the command line and execute this command, which is going to create our first Maven project. Group ID com.mycompany.app. So this is the company name, domain name they are using. Here I am using group ID as in.ashokit. Artifact ID, my first Maven app. My first app. Name I am giving as my first app. Archetype, we are giving the archetype as a quick start. As discussed, quick start nothing but standalone project will be created. Archetype version 1.4 we are using. So open command prompt and execute below command. Open CMD and execute below command to create Maven project. So this project is a quick start project. This project is quick start project, nothing but it is a standalone project. Now let me take this command. Go to our directory, E drive 27 JRTP. Okay, so here I want to do some practice. So I'm taking this name as projects. So my folder is empty, nothing is available in my folder. From this folder, I will open the CMD. My command prompt I'm opening from here. Now you can see the path of my command prompt. E drive classes 27 JRTP projects folder is available. In this projects folder, I will execute this command. Okay, just to copy this command. I have taken from official website only. Then execute this command. So when we execute this command, Maven project will be created. Scanning for the projects. It is downloading something from central. Then generating the project in the batch mode. -b nothing but batch mode. So it should not ask me the details to create the project. I am giving all the details here. That's why B means batch mode. It is generating the project in the batch mode. Group ID in.ashokit. Artifact ID first app. Version snapshot. Default package also in.ashokit. Okay, so version 1.0 snapshot is available. In this directory, my Maven project got created. The project build is success. So when you see build success, that means our project got created successfully. Go to that folder. Earlier, my folder is empty. Now we can see my first project is created. Go inside this project. There is a file called pom.xml. Let me open this file, pom.xml file. The pom.xml file is called as maven configuration file. So you can see that this is the file, maven pom.xml file. So this is my project information, the name of my first project. Compiler, it is using 1.7 version of Java. I will change it to 17. By default, it is taking 1.7 version. I will change it. Currently, the dependencies we got, only one dependency we got by default, which is a JUnit. So I have not added any dependency. I have just created the project. So it is taking JUnit dependency by default, and it is taking some plugins also which are required for the project. So we'll understand this pom.xml. So we are able to create our first Maven project. Once the Maven project is created, how to compile this project, how to package this project. Now you see src main available Java in.ashokit. So there is one class called app.java. So when we create the quick start application, by default one Java class also created. Once this Maven project is created, guys, now you can build this project. You can execute Maven goals. How to execute Maven goals? Go inside the project, cd space my first app. Now I am inside the project directory. So when you want to execute Maven goals, you need to go inside the Maven project directory. I am inside the project directory. Now I am executing mvn compile. So when I execute mvn compile, project source code will be compiled. So project source code will be compiled. So see here, mvn compile I have executed. It is compiling my project. Then build got success. You can see target folder got generated. So target folder contains bytecode. Project is compiled. Compilation means that Java file will be converted to that class file. The that class files will be stored into target directory. So let us go to the target directory, classes in.ashokit, yes, app.class. App.java class is available. When I compile the project, app.class file got created. That means project is compiled successfully. Project source code is converted to bytecode. Source code will be available in the src folder. Once that project is compiled, that bytecode will be stored into the target directory. Source code is available in the src, bytecode is available in the target. If I want to delete that bytecode, then you can use mvn clean. When you use mvn clean, the target folder will be deleted. That means your bytecode, that class files will be deleted. Build success. Now you can see target folder got deleted. So again, when I want to compile this project, I will use mvn compile. Compile is one goal which is used to compile source code of the project. mvn compile, so it is used to compile source code of the project. So the project got compiled successfully and project build is success. Project build is success. That means the target is generated. Now I want to delete this target. How to delete the target? For that we can use mvn clean. So when I use mvn clean, the target folder will be deleted. You can execute two goals at a time. So you can use mvn clean compile. So mvn clean compile. Clean compile means delete the old bytecode and generate the latest bytecode. Clean means delete the target. Compile means compile the source code and keep in the target directory. So like this you can use mvn clean compile goals. Clean compile goals. Now there is a another goal is available. mvn test goal is available. Test means execute unit test cases in the project. If any unit test cases are available in the project, then you can execute those unit test cases by using test goal. JUnits will be executed. And I want to package my project. I want to deploy my project. To deploy the project, you need to create a jar file or war file. So the jar file or war file will be stored in the target directory. Currently, in the target directory, any jar file is available. In the project target directory, any jar file is available. Guys, any jar file is available in the target directory. Jar file is not available in the target directory. Jar file is not available in the target directory. Now I want to create the jar. Now I want to create the jar file. For that we need to use package goal. Okay, you can use MVN package. MVN package. So if you use the package goal, then it will package your project as a jar file or war file. Now, so you can see when I execute the jar goal, jar is executed, it created the jar file for the project. The jar file is available, the jar file is available in the target. So earlier in the target directory, jar is not available. Now in the target directory, jar file is also available. So we are able to build the project. Simple. We just created the Maven project and we have executed Maven goals. So we can execute Maven goals here. First, you go to open the CMD. You open the CMD and you execute the below command. Here, -b nothing but batch mode. -d nothing but system argument, guys. So we are giving input for the Maven to use this as a group ID, this as the artifact ID, this is archetype, and this is archetype version. So -d represents it is a system input, system argument we are giving for the Maven command. -b means batch mode. So if you execute archetype colon generated directly, it will ask you to enter all these values. That is called interactive mode. I want to go with the batch mode. -b represents batch mode. That means when I execute this command, Maven should not ask me anything. Maven should create the project directly. That is called batch mode. Interactive mode means every value you need to enter, they will ask you what is group ID, what is artifact ID, what is archetype, what is version, what is packaging. They will ask you to enter the data. Instead of that, I'm giving the data directly. So I want to create the project in the batch mode. Open the CMD and execute the below command to create the Maven project. Fix that project is created. Okay, once it is created, navigate into project directory. From the CMD, when you want to execute any Maven goal, you need to go inside the project directory. My project directory name is my first app. Okay, I'm going inside the project directory. Then you can execute Maven goals. Maven goals are used to automate the project build process. Clean goal, compile goal, test goal, package goal, install goal. When you use install goal, your jar file will be stored into repository. MVN clean install. MVN clean install. Install means whatever the project jar is created, that jar will be stored into Maven repository. Whatever the jar is created, that jar is stored into our Maven repository. Okay, installing jar is created. This is the name of the jar file. This jar file is stored into my Maven repository. Where is the Maven repository? Maven repository available in the .m2, my local repository. Whenever we execute install goal, it will store the project jar file into my local repository. Where is the Maven local repository? In your system, go to C drive, go to users, go to username. There you can find one folder called .m2. .m2 folder is called Maven local repository. What all the dependencies Maven is downloading, those dependencies will be available in the M2. Go to .m2 repository available in Ashok IT. Yes, my first app jar file is stored here. When you use install, your project jar file will be stored into Maven repository. So in my system, local repository is available. When you do the Maven setup, by default, local repository will be created in your system. That local repository will be available in your C drive, users, your system username, .m2 repository. So there you can see all the dependencies Maven is downloaded and all the jars related to your projects. Okay. When I execute a clean goal, then target directory will be deleted. Target directory will contain the bytecode of the project. Compile means it will compile the source code and it will generate the bytecode. MVN tester, it will execute JUnit test cases. Then MVN package, project will be packaged. MVN install, it will install the jar file into local repository. The jar file will be stored into our repository. So when you execute the goals, when you execute MVN clean package, so that means internally it will execute clean goal plus compile goal plus a test goal plus package. You no need to execute all the goals. If you just execute clean package, that is fine. Package goal will execute compile plus a test plus package. And if you execute MVN clean install goal, if you execute MVN clean install goal, it will execute clean plus it will execute compile, it will execute a test, it will execute package, and it will execute install also. Are you clear? So if you execute clean package, clean means delete the target. Compile, test, package, all the three goals will be executed with the package. When you execute install, all the four goals will be executed. Install goal is storing our project jar file in the Maven local repository. Install goal is storing our project jar file in Maven local repository. Maven local repository. Where is the local repository available? Local repository will be there in C drive users, your username /.m2. That is the location of the Maven local repository. Are you guys able to understand how to create a Maven project and how to execute Maven goals? How to create a Maven project and how to execute Maven goals? Maven project you can create in two ways. One is by using command prompt. Second one is by using IDE. So open the command prompt and execute below command to create the Maven project. So it is a Maven quick start project, guys. So B means batch mode, and these are the values I'm giving to create the Maven project. When the Maven project is created, you can see that in the Maven project, pom.xml file will be available. Go to my classes, JRTP projects. My first project. In that pom.xml file got created, right? So if you want to execute the goals of the Maven, then you should go inside the project directory, cd space your project directory. You go inside that directory. Once you go inside the project directory, there you can execute Maven goals. Clean goal, compile goal, test goal, package goal, install goal. When you execute package, compile plus a test plus package will execute. When you execute install, compile, test, package, install, all the four goals will be executed when you go for clean install. What is the purpose of this package? Project will be packaged as a jar file or war file. Okay, good. Now, so here when you execute only package, so see here, when you execute only package, what is happening? MVN package. When you execute the package, it will execute to compile, test, and package. Now you see, I have given only MVN package code. So it is executing compilation and it is executing test, then it is executing jar. So package means package means compile plus a test plus package. Package means compile plus a test plus package. Suppose if I execute install, now see what will happen. Only install goal I am executing. MVN install. Only install I have executed. Then it is executing compilation, it is executing test, and it will execute package, and it is executing install. So when I execute only install, what is happening? Compilation is executing, test is executing, okay, jar is executing, that means package is executing, install is also executing. So you no need to mention all the goals. So if you mention top level goal called install, then it will execute all the goals. Clean, if you want to delete the target directory, then you need to specify the clean. So when you specify the clean, old dot class files will be deleted and the latest dot class files will be created. Old code will be removed and the latest code will be compiled. Old dot class files will be deleted and the latest dot class files will be created if you use clean goal. Are you able to follow me? Is this clear, guys? How to create a Maven project and how to execute Maven goals? How to create a Maven project and how to execute Maven goals? Now, we can create the Maven project in the IDE. So we have seen Maven project creation in the CMD and we are able to execute the Maven goals. So same thing, we can create the Maven project in the IDE also. And here, when you go for any IDE, you need to remember by default in every IDE, Maven tool will be already available. By default, Maven is integrated with all the Java-based IDEs. You don't need to do any setup to work with Maven in the IDE. Whatever the Maven setup we have done, that is used to work with Maven from the CMD. If you want to work with Maven in the IDE, you don't need to do any setup. By default, Maven is integrated with all the Java-based IDEs. So if you go for Eclipse IDE, or if you go for IntelliJ IDE, or if you go for SCS IDE, by default, Maven will be available. By default, Maven will be available in every IDE. By default, Maven is integrated with all Java-based IDEs like Eclipse, STS, IntelliJ, all these IDEs will be available. How to create a Maven project in the IDE? So we can create Maven project directly in the IDE. File, new, Maven projects. I'm having IntelliJ IDE in my system. So let me open my IntelliJ IDE. I will show you how to create a Maven project. You can use any IDE. Either you can go with STS, Eclipse, IntelliJ. So let me show you how to create a Maven project in the IntelliJ IDE. Yes, I'm opening my, yes guys, my IDE got opened now. I want to create one new project. I want to create one new project in the IntelliJ IDE. So you can use file, new, project. Project I want to create. Click on create new project. So when I'm creating the project, it is asking what type of project you want to create. Maven archetype I'm using. I'm going to create the project. So you can create a simple Java project by using Maven build system. Okay. So Java 21 or Java 17 you can use. Now see here, I want to create my Maven project. I want to create my Maven project. So go to the file option, new project is available. So create the Java project, and for this project, what is the build system you want to use? I want to use Maven as a build system. Where do you want to store this project? Okay, so the location, where do you want to store the project? So I want to store this project into particular location. Okay, E drive. In the E drive also, let me choose the workspace 27 JRTP. Let me choose workspace here. Let me select this location. Yeah. So this is the location I'm going to choose. The name of the project I'm creating as 01 Maven app. So in the JRTP workspace, I'm creating 01 Maven app. The build system I'm using as Maven. Click on create. Advanced settings will be available. What is the group ID you want for the project? Artifact ID is the project name. Group ID, I'm giving the name as in.ashok IT. You can select like this. Okay, so fine. Name is 01 Maven app. Location 27 JRTP workspace. Build system, I'm using Maven. JDK 17 I'm using for this. Group ID in.ashok IT. Artifact ID Maven app. Click on create. So with this you can see that my Maven project got created. With this you can see that my Maven project got created. So in this Maven project, so if you observe in this Maven project, form.xml file is generated. So Maven compiler version 17 is coming. Group ID, artifact ID version is available. and src main Java. So one Java class is created by default. One Java class is created by default, which is called as main Java class. One Java class is created, and main resources available. Any properties that you want, you can configure in the resources. So main Java is available, and src main Java and a test Java will be available. Main Java, test Java, main resources, and one pom.xml file is also available. So this is the Maven project creation in the IDE. So very simple, just go to file, new project. So you select the Java project, you use build system as a Maven, then you can select group ID, artifact ID, and you choose the location. Where do you want to store your project? Okay, so my Maven project is created. Maven project structure, src main test available. src means source, where you want to keep the source code of the project. Main source code will be available in the main Java. For that source code, any configuration files are required, we will keep them in the main resources. JUnit code we are going to keep in the test Java folder. Any unit test classes that we need, the unit test classes we are going to keep in the test Java folder. And for our project, pom.xml file is available. This is our Maven configuration file. Now, so here, how to execute Maven goals. So in the IDE itself, you can open the terminal directly. In the IDE itself, you can open the terminal directly. So by default, it is using PowerShell. Let me change it to command prompt. Now, directly in the IntelliJ IDE, you can open the terminal also. Here you can see terminal option is available, guys. Terminal option is available directly here. Open the terminal. By default, terminal is coming with a PowerShell. You can change the terminal to command prompt. Yes, I'm using command prompt. Directly my command prompt is opened from project directory. Here I can execute mvn clean package. MVN clean package. So it is going to delete the target. It will compile and it will test and it will package my project as a jar file. You no need to open the command prompt from outside. So in the IDE itself directly you can open the command prompt now. So here terminal option is available. I opened my command prompt directly from the project directory. My command prompt is open. From there I'm going to execute my Maven goal MVN clean package. So when I execute it, clean means delete the target, compile means project is compiled, source code is converted to bytecode, and sur file test is executed. Test any unit test is available. The unit test will be executed. Currently we are not doing any unit testing, and package is executed. That means the project is packaged as a jar file, and finally our project build got success. You can go to the project workspace, Maven app, target. Inside the target, Maven project jar file is created. So you can create the Maven project from the command prompt and you can execute the Maven goals. And from the IDE also you can do that. From the IDE also you can do that. Are you able to understand how to create the project in the IDE? My IntelliJ IDE is a community edition. It is a free IDE only. My IDE is a free edition. It is a community based IDE only. And we are going to use IntelliJ IDE in this course. I will use IntelliJ IDE for this course. Are you guys able to understand how I created Maven project? File, new project. By default, Maven is integrated with all Java-based IDEs. We can create Maven project directly in the above IDEs. So creating Maven project in IntelliJ. Creating Maven project in IntelliJ IDE. File, new. What is the process we are following? File, new project. So Java project. File, new project. Select Java. Select build system as Maven. File, new project. Select Java here. Then select build system as Maven. Right? So Java project, build system as Maven, JDK, and advanced settings, group ID and artifact ID. advanced settings. In advanced settings, we will use group ID and we will use artifact ID. As we discussed in the terminology, group ID nothing but the name of the company, which company developing this project. Artifact ID nothing but name of the project. What is our project name? Group ID means our company name. Artifact ID nothing but our project name. Are you able to understand? Are you able to understand how we created project in IntelliJ IDEA? So in every IDE, Maven is integrated with by default. In all the Java-based IDEs, Maven is available by default. Eclipse, STS, IntelliJ IDEA. We can create Maven project directly in the above IDEs. Creating Maven project in the IntelliJ IDEA. Go to File, go to New Project, then select Java, select Build System as Maven, then Advanced Settings, Group ID, and give the Artifact ID. Create the project. Create project. Then open terminal and select command prompt. Open terminal. We can use CMD command prompt directly in the IDE. We can open CMD in IDE directly. Okay. Go to terminal. Terminal. Choose command prompt. Choose command prompt. So then we can open CMD in the IDE directly and open terminal. How I am opening my terminals here. So if you see here in the IntelliJ IDEA, by default, you can go to here, window, layouts, here no, tools, no, directly here terminal is available. Go to here, there is a terminal option. Alt F12 is the shortcut to open the terminal. When you use Alt F12, the terminal is opened. So by default, it is giving the PowerShell guys. So we want command prompt. So you change from PowerShell to command prompt. If you want to use Git bash, you can use Git bash here. So in after Maven, we will work with Git only. How to do the code commits and all, we can do from the Git bash. So currently we are going with the command prompt. Okay. So I'm opening my terminal. In the terminal, I'm going for command prompt, right? So you can use Alt F12. We can open CMD in the IDE directly. Choose command prompt. Shortcut Alt F12. If you use a shortcut as Alt plus F12, then that terminal will open. In the terminal, choose the command prompt. So in this terminal, we can execute Maven goals directly. We can execute Maven goals directly. What is the goal I am executing? MVN clean package goal I am executing. So which is deleting the target directory, which is compiling the latest code, which is executing the test cases, and it is packaging our project as a jar file or war file. So we can use Maven from normal command prompt, or we can use Maven in IDE also directly. There is no difference. If you use a normal CMD or this terminal, both are same. There is no difference. Both are command prompts only. Both are command prompts only. So there is no difference, guys. If you use normal command prompt or if you use IDE terminal also, there is no problem. Okay. So what we discussed today? So we discussed about Maven. We discussed about what is Maven. Maven introduction we understood. Maven setup we understood. Maven terminology and creating Maven project in the command prompt. Creating Maven project in the IDE and Maven goals execution. So today we discussed about what is Maven and we discussed about what is build process. What is build process? And we discussed about Maven setup, and we discussed about Maven terminology. We discussed about Maven terminology, and we discussed about Maven project creation in command prompt as well as in IDE, Maven goals execution. So we discussed what is Maven, what is build process, what is Maven, what is build process, and how to do the Maven setup, and what is Maven terminology, how to create Maven project, and how to what are the Maven goals, and how to execute Maven goals. So these 6 topics we discussed as part of today's session. Okay. Are you guys clear with these topics? So tomorrow also we will continue with the Maven only. Tomorrow we will discuss about how to add the dependencies in the Maven, how to customize the pom.xml file, what are the Maven repositories available. Okay, those things we are going to discuss in the tomorrow session. Tomorrow also we'll continue with the Maven tool only. Yeah, I will upload these notes for both JRTP people as well as for Spring Boot people. So please do this practice before coming to tomorrow's session. Okay, thank you guys.